Hello and welcome to this power leveling 1 through 50 guide. This is City of Heroes, a game I'm absolutely addicted to. I've used Mezzo's build, which I'll put a link in the description for. I need to apologise for the graphics. I have to play on an old laptop, two windows running, lowest graphics settings, so it might be a bit weird. These are a very quick look at the enhancements I've got, but again, I've followed the expensive build on Mezzo's guide, which I'll do a link to. Um, I'm veteran level 44, I've got all these power sets, and basically this guy can survive any fire farm without inspirations, although you'll see me using a lot of inspirations in this video. Now, the map we're using is Story of a Real Big Dog. I believe it's the fastest to level up out of any of the fire farms. However, if you have other opinions, please feel free to comment them. Now, you'll see these big dogs, and the other thing, I've recorded this with a free version of software, so you will have the recorded with debut home edition at the bottom. Now, once again, apologies for the graphics. I'm running two City of Heroes here. As you can see, this is my main, and I'm going to create a new character right now. So I've got a couple of level 50s. I've tried to actually record this video a few times. But this time, hopefully it'll all go fine. So one thing I haven't got is a level 50 Stalker. So I'm going to do an electric melee with shields. I've heard it's good. Not really used to a Stalker, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to use just a basic set. Like, why not? Let's just make him really small. Now, if you haven't played this game, I'd recommend getting it. It's now free. Fans have bought it back. I used to play it back in the day and absolutely loved it. No, I don't want that. Let's just see. Something that will work. Yeah, that'll do. Go for some weird colours. Why not? And what can it be called? Buzzcut. That'll do. Oh, did I not choose a power? Don't want to play the tutorial. I want to be a hero, and let's go. So this is a sped up video. You can do this. I'm just checking it's recording. You can do this quicker than 2 hours, leveling up a character from 1 to 50. There are methods that I do that slows it down. It was first thing in the morning for a start. But here we go. We've got a level 1 character. Now the first thing you're going to want to do, and apologies again for the lag, as I say, running two things on an old laptop, so it will be a bit laggy. This is how I have to play. Fun. So the first thing you want to do is go to this P2W, pay to win vendor in Atlas Park, and get some 100% double XP boosts. Now I'll go for all 8, even though this guy's going to be leveled in 2 hours. There's other things you can do, like I'm going to get a run power just to make him run a bit faster, getting hidden and getting to architect for a start. So somewhere down here. Steam jump, I think. Oh, yeah, steam jump. And beast run, because it's some weird insect thing in it. Now, obviously, you could spend a lot more time creating a character that you're going to really love, and I'm going to jump cut to getting into the map. He needs to hide behind these rocks because he is squishy and it's not a safe map. People are walking around constantly. So if you want to use inspirations, I'd recommend it. It can go quicker. You don't need the purples, just fill it up with reds. And constantly having reds on is going to make it so much quicker, because it's just increasing your damage, and that's what this build is. You couldn't just stand there and take the beating, you would die. You need to use your powers wisely. But here we go, timer. Now you can already see he's gaining levels. So 2-hour timer. You're just going to be spamming your abilities. Haste can be perma on with this build. You will notice I don't do that, so that would also speed it up. And I don't pop reds constantly. Again, that really speeds it up. But don't worry, you will not die with this build, no matter whether you use inspirations or not. You've got enough healing and defense there to keep alive. And all you're going to do is just spam the hell out of everything. You can see how quick this buzz cut is leveling up here. The electric fence is a good one to keep them in place when they're near you. You're going to want to use the build up on your burn, and burn is under 8 seconds, which is fantastic. You don't need it to go any lower than that. I think it's actually under 7 seconds. Now these maps have a time, as you can see in the top, but in all honesty it goes down as you progress into 10 minutes, I think is the lowest, and you can run through these maps, especially if you're using the red inspirations, in about 5 minutes. It will kick you out if you run out of time. And if you want to end the mission early, there's a glowy on the map. As soon as you click that, you can exit the mission. So that is also another way to speed up when you've just got a couple of enemies left. There's no point, if you're after speed, to go and kill them. In this video I do. You could just exit and go back with all the big mobs, which is where you're going to get your good XP and good influence. Now what you're also going to notice in this video is I'll show you the fact that you can end up with about 10 million on your new toon as well by the time it hits 50. This guy, Spikey McSpikington, is my farmer, and he still has quite a lot of salvage on him and recipes. So there's points where, to maximize influence, I will go and use the shop in Architect to sell goods. What you'll also notice is I cut out the loading screens because I'm using an old laptop. It can take forever to load into the maps, whereas people have different powers of computer, so I'm not going to include that in the time countdown. By the end of this first run, you should be about level 17 on your new character, and then I think it's something like 27, 30, 34, I think it went, and then 38, 40, 41. Basically, it goes in sets of, this story of a big dog goes in sets of, I think, 4 or 5 missions. And I just keep doing them one after the other, and then start it all again. The one thing with this build, and with any brute or tank, endurance is key, because if you lose endurance, you lose all your toggles, and that's when you're just going to be as squishy as anyone else. So you want to keep an eye on that endurance. You've got 2 powers here. I've got max tier ageless, and that alone can keep my endurance fine. However, I seem to rarely use it. You'll also notice throughout all this that I keep clicking on inspirations that I just want to get gone so I can get, I don't know, more reds or something. I'm a real lazy player. I don't, for some reason, I don't like clicking my powers. If I've got a inspiration there, I prefer to just click it. However, look at this. This is going much slower than it could be because I have no red inspirations being used and I've got plenty there. You'll notice that throughout a lot of the video. It's only when I start getting quite bored of farming near the end that I start popping the reds, and it goes much, much quicker. Now, this video does actually take longer than 2 hours to get to 50, but that is the main reason, because I am not using them red inspirations. I also take breaks where I show you about selling your salvage and your recipes to make the money, what ones to do, etc. Now I've sped it up to 800%. So you're going to see the whole leveling process from 1 to 50 with the load screens cut out, and people talk to me, asking me to farm for them, level up characters and stuff. Um, so that also slowed it down a bit with me replying to them. But as you can see, I have sped up the timer, and although this 1 to 50 took a bit longer than 2 hours, it wasn't much off. And as I say, that's without using red inspirations. Now, I'm not saying this is the best build. There might be ones better. This build cost about 1 billion influence when I made him, and that was with a couple of lucky recipe drops for what I needed, but mostly buying them. Now, some of them were at 30 million a slot, so that's why it was so expensive. Obviously, the market does fluctuate, so you might be able to get it cheaper. Mezzo also did a cheap build as well as an expensive build. I haven't tried out the cheap build. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as this expensive one, but I think it's worth doing. Now, the other thing to note is this build isn't complete. Everything is tier 4 except the alpha slot, which is tier 3. So that tier 4 slot would also speed it up a little bit. Since making the video, he does now have a tier 4 musculature alpha slot. So am I going to re-record it? No. This video took far too long as it was. It took 3 attempts. So I've got 3 level 50 characters, which I'm not going to spend the money on. I will see what I like about each one that I've made. Each one's different, and see which one I'm actually going to potentially use going forward, before I start spending money on it. Obviously, you're leveling up this character, getting money on this character as well throughout, and it's a nice farmer. I enjoy farming with this guy. It's good fun. He's got a lot of damage power. I believe it caps it out when you use a couple of reds. Um, so you can do a lot of damage and clear these maps pretty fast, especially when you're not fart arsing about like I was here most of the time. But then, when you're farming by yourself, no teammates, it does get a bit boring. The other criticism I might get for doing this video is why farm? That's not playing the game properly. That is cheating. That is boring. You're not doing the story arcs. I hate farmers. They ruin the game. This is my first ever farming toon. I've never had one before. I've always done the storyline arcs and things to level up. So it's nice to actually try something different for me. Um, I couldn't do it all the time. It is very boring. As I say, when I started this character, I only had one level 50. This is my second level 50, and since having this guy, I've now got another 3 on top of that, just by trying to make this video. So it is, I can see why people would say it's cheating, because, why would anyone like it if you can just have a 50 click of a fingers? It's not what you want. You want to play the game, you want to enjoy it, but at the same time, everyone enjoys games differently. It doesn't harm you if someone's just farming. It just means you might have more people to team with later on in level. It also gives people a chance to try out various different builds, see what they like. When you can try out a level 50 character in 2 hours, see if that's a character you'd actually like to invest in. So there are pros and cons to both. For me, this guy is going to be my influence generator, basically. If I want to gain influence, I'll just bring him in for an hour or two, doing some farming to gain influence. all my characters now are going to be done through the storylines again. Farming is not for me, but it was quite fun doing it. Now, in a moment, we're going to have to sell some salvage and recipes. So go to this vendor, sell all the enhancements because they're all going to be trash for you. What you'll sell everything on the enhancements because you'll get more through this vendor than you will by selling them on auction house. Also sell all the white recipes because again you'll get more through this vendor than you will via auction house. Do exactly the same with a salvage again for all the whites. Now the yellows vary. Sometimes you will get more through this vendor, sometimes you'll get more on the auction house. Mostly though you'd get more on the auction house. Now the oranges, and if you've been fortunate enough to get any purples, definitely don't sell them. Either keep them for this toon or a different toon, or either sell the recipes, or craft the recipes and then sell them. With this spiky, he's got a few purples. I always make him craft them rather than selling the recipes, and you just get that bit more. Now with the orange salvage, they normally go for 500,000 a piece. The majority of them anyway, so it's definitely worth keeping hold of them, especially as she'll only give you 5,000 for them. So you can get what, 100 times the amount, 10 times the amount by doing it on auction house. And I think by the end of this guy is currently got what, 389 mil. I think he ends up with about 450 mil. So it's a good increase. Buy you a few slots of purples for that. So obviously I've not stopped the timer here while I'm doing all this. So again, that could be one of the reasons it's gone over 2 hours. According to Mezzo, he has seen the quickest level 1 to 50 using this build in an hour 15. I believe that could quite well be possible by ensuring your inspirations are just full of reds. One thing you might have noticed on that pay to win vendor in Atlas at the beginning of the video, I've already revoked break freeze, awakens, and insights. In all honesty, if I was to do this video or just use this character for farming, I would probably stop everything but purples and reds. Not that you need the purples, but it's just means you don't have to spam your heal and stuff. So it could make it that little bit quicker. But the reason I didn't is because I also use this character. I want to get all the accolade badges and temporary powers for it. And I use it on other missions because that's what I enjoy playing. So then these inspirations come in very useful because although this guy has amazing defense against fire, he's not the best against some other things. So that's the whole reason as well. You'll notice I haven't toggled tough, and that's because it makes no difference on a fire map at all to your defense. It just drains your endurance more. So out of all the toggles, it's the only one I have not got toggled on. At the end, I've got vengeance. I think, in all honesty, that can be swapped out for any other power you'd prefer on this build. I do rarely use it, especially in a farming scenario, because I never die, and normally my toon doesn't die. On this map, it can be a bit troublesome because they wander around, so you have to keep an eye, which is why I keep spinning around in each map. Because if I see a group going towards where my leveling up toon is parked, I run over and get them, try and get the aggro. The other thing this brute doesn't have is taunt. So if you're trying to tank with this build, you're not going to be the best tank at all. because you are relying on your aggro to keep people attacking you. Now, especially at 50, if someone goes in with their judgment ability, they're generally going to take quite a lot of the aggro, and you're not going to be able to stop that via doing a quick taunt spam, for instance. So this isn't the best tanker, but it is fantastic for the DPS farm on a fire farm. Now, I don't know what level this character is at the time. I was tempted to put a counter on, counting up the levels on the left-hand side, maybe. But this video on this laptop has taken me so long to do to this level. I was just getting a bit bored, in all honesty. But as you can see with the timer, there's 29 minutes left. 28 now. So he's got to be pretty high. He's got to be, I don't know, about 40, I'd guess, nearly. So it's a. I know this video is condensed into about 30 minutes. It was originally 2 hours 20, I believe, and that's with the introduction where I'm creating the character and me selling the enhancements, salvage, and recipes. And as you can see here, I'm going to have to do it again after this run because Spikey's salvage is once again full. The other thing you could do, again, to speed it up with downtime, is put everything in personal storage or in the storage on the auction house, and then you might only have to do that once. Of course, you don't have to do it at all if you're not bothered about the influence or possible recipe and salvage drops you might get. Then don't worry, just let them max out and carry on farming, get that 50 quicker. But for me, you know, for that few minutes to get about 10 million in influence on the new toon, plus the 50 mil, 60 mil influence I get on this toon, it's worth doing. It only takes moments to go to that vendor and sell. It's also worth getting some enrages as well while you're there if you've got the empty space. While I've remembered, I've just seen he's got some blues there and some resists. I actually would revoke both of them as well if I was using it solely for fire farming, because again, you don't have influence draining opponents like Freak Show, etc. You've got Ageless, which can keep it up constantly, especially with Consume. So they're really not needed. Now with the lore pets, I usually summon them. It makes it go faster, especially as the essence cannot be killed and will constantly attack and does an AoE attack. So it just makes it that bit faster. So as soon as that has the ability to be used again, do so. Get them back out. The Ravager will go in no time. It will just be killed by the enemies, but with the Defiler, that will stay around. So at this point, you could quite easily be level 50. As you can see, I've been talking to people about, no, I can't farm them at the moment because I'm doing a YouTube video. And the main reason I said no is because the more people you have, the less experience and influence each toon's going to gain. But also, you can't rely on them to exit and enter the map when you finish. So it could increase the time. So for this purpose alone, if you are literally trying to power level as quick as possible, only have your farmer and your extra toon. So what we got? 1 minute 16 left on the 2-hour countdown. So he's got to be pretty close to 50. That countdown is going to go off and he won't be 50. There we go. But at the same time, he's super close. And we did have a lot of downtime and we didn't do this as fast as we could. So don't shoot me because it might be clickbait, a title, but I've demonstrated that it is possible and ways to actually make this quicker than what I did. So it is possible to do it in an hour and a half, hour and a quarter at a real push, for easily under 2 hours. If you aren't playing City of Heroes yet and you are interested, as I say, it's completely free. Just do a search for City of Heroes, and there's plenty of forums, etc., which will guide you through the install process. It's one of them MMOs that have, well, back in the day, it was one of my favourites. The community is one of the biggest things on it, not just the fact that you can be an absolute god of a hero, but the community is so kind and friendly. It isn't as toxic as most MMORPGs. It is Everyone is willing to give their time and help others, especially new players. And I was hoping that was going to be the case with it coming back and built by the fans, and it definitely is. It's still one of the kindest communities going in any MMO. So I fully recommend giving this game a go. And if you want to join me, I am on Reunion server. So install it and join the Reunion server and add me up, find me, and I'll let me know that you've watched this video and come to have a go. Now, if I believe I'm correct in saying that they've hit 50, and I'm just clearing the map. No, they're about to hit 50. They were just short of 50, so I loaded up a new map, and I believe they're 49. Here we go. Any minute, I'm gonna pop at 50. There we go. So that is level 50. I do clear the map because, well, why not? There's only a few mobs left, and it's extra influence, extra XP. I know until that guy levels, he's not going to get his incarnate XP, but it's still XP at the end of the day. Oh, actually, that was level 49. This will be level 50. I hope. I certainly hope. Mm, come on. Come on. I should have noticed. There we go. Level 50. Oh, is it though? Because the double XP boost is still there. It might not be, you know. No, that was level 49. That goes to show. I'm narrating this after the event and my mouth's starting to get dry. I need a coffee. So I'm just hoping that it pops soon. I'm looking, there's 5 minutes left of the video, roughly. So it's got to be this run. That could have been 50. I know I did clear the map afterwards. That'll be 50, right? Come on. Oh no, as soon as it ends, because it will slow down to normal time. Oh no. Oh, so 47, 48, 49. Oh. It's weird because when the timer ran out, this seems like a lot longer than another 20 minutes from 2 hours. But then I didn't stop it throughout that whole salvage and recipes and stuff. But I know it's possible within 2 hours and less. If you don't want to take my word for it, I'll come and join the game on Reunion and I'll level you up in 2 hours. I'm not going to make another video to do so. Right, so that will be 50 because the video's slowed down. I cut through his level 1 there and yet level 50 there, so he's going to have a lot of fun with Miss Liberty, choosing his powers and whatnot. Selling everything he's got, so he's currently got 8 mil. Selling it all, I believe it goes to just under 10 now. Of course, that all depends on what drops you get as to what money you're going to have, but that's just through selling the whites That's excluding putting everything else on the auction house. So you should easily, regardless of what drops you get, make 10 mil on the toon, if not more. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video. The reason this video was made is because on Mezzo's video, people were asking for a full 2-hour video. I was not going to upload a 2-hour video, especially as I play without sound. I don't like the sound, I don't like the powers constantly going off, especially when you're spamming the same things over and over. And I wasn't going to talk for a whole 2 hours either. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. This is my life blog page with me and my partner, so give us a subscribe too. Find out who we are.